Livevol. This is where I use my own real Reg T account and trade with LVX just to show you guys what the functionalities are on this product. Let's go and check my account. Kind of usually how I start. Looks like I'm pretty much flat today. I was down like over 1,000 earlier in the day, but looks like I recovered a little bit. Yesterday I had a pretty bad day. You see this downtick. It looks like I lost about $3,700. It was pretty frustrating. You know, nobody likes to lose. Some of the things that I know for a lot of you guys out there who trade, I'm sure you guys have up and downs, and it's part of trading that you have to learn to deal with. So it's something that I'm used to, having these up and downs, but I guess really I still don't like the days when I'm losing. Some of my initial thoughts are that when I'm it's like there's like advantages and disadvantages to some of the traits that you have, and it's important that you understand yourself, I think, to be a good trader. One of the things I feel like that is to my benefit is the fact that I really try very hard to make money every day, and I'm really would like to have every trade be a winner. Sometimes that's a disadvantage and makes me a little impatient on the days when I'm not winning. And yesterday, that day when I was losing, it seemed like it lasted forever, and then this morning as well. So sometimes one of the most important things that you learn when you're trading to be successful is to kind of understand yourself and try to maximize your best side, and then minimize the parts that's not as that leads to bad trading. So for me, yesterday, and let me actually pull up the portfolio again. All my trades are being hedged really by this VIX call spread, April 16, 26, but they weren't really going to kick in. They're starting to kick in a little bit now, and they'll kick in greatly if, let's say, the VIX goes up another 3 or 4 points. But until then, this wasn't really making me enough money, and all my longs were losing a lot of money. But you know, right now it looks like it's at least for now it's at a temporary equilibrium, but we'll see what happens going forward. Some of the positions that I have, let me actually talk about the VIX itself, because I think maybe this is a good time to answer some of the questions that people have on VIX. So like I look at it this morning, people are definitely still buying a lot of calls. You can see this, it's 7.7 to 1. There's huge block trades happening on the 20 line, May, July. Not sure exactly which one they're buying or selling. I might have to like ask some of my floor trading guys to investigate, but I'll ask them and just try to find out what people are doing. But essentially, people are trading a lot of calls, either for hedge, speculation, or for whatever reason people have. Now, a lot of times I get people asking me like, "Hey, Stefan, I don't understand these VIX pricing, because sometimes like you can buy a time spread for credit," and people actually told me like, "Hey, isn't that, you know, that's fantastic trade. You can't lose with that trade," and that's not true, because this is based on futures. So what you have to understand is it's not an underlying that you're actually going off of. It's the future VIX, and then each of these months have different pricing. So on most applications, on the way I try to figure out what the VIX is I do the combo market of the calls and puts. So for example, if I want to know what the VIX is in the April, I just take kind of like the midpoint of these two calls and puts, 212 and 130. It's about 82 cents. So the futures is around 1682. Now, and then, but if you look at March, right? It's more like 1610. So March is lower than April, and you can kind of use this combo market to gauge what the future is. So for me, I have this spread on right now, April 1626, and I'm using this as a hedge. The most I can make, and let's say it expired exactly at 26 on April 16th, I can make $10 on the spread 20 times, which is 20,000, but I paid 2,200, so I can make 18,000. Most likely, you know, I would say there's a very, very low chance I'll keep this to the end. Most likely, you know, I would sell out of these if I thought VIX reached some kind of top. But in my account, what I was thinking was, man, I'm losing all this money on the longs. I should get out of these. That was my natural tendency. But if I get out of them, I also needed to get out the VIX. So I couldn't just do one, right? I couldn't get out of this and have the market kind of rally back, and I have no more longs to actually offset the losses I'm going to get on the VIX spread. So right now I'm kind of like in limbo, and I'm just holding on. I'm not really doing too much. I'm just trying to, I guess for me, I'm just trying to prevent myself from doing a bad trade more than trying to find a good trade. Like my usual tendency is that I'm impatient, so I want to fix things right away. And I've learned throughout the course of my trading career that it's beneficial for me that when I'm losing, just to take a step back and not be aggressive. And then when I'm doing well, that's to step up and be aggressive. Okay, so that's the VIX. This is hedging all my position. So, you know, I'm not really that worried about, you know, my P&L, because if whatever reason, like let's say they do start some kind of fighting, or Russia decides to go into the eastern part of Ukraine, that will, you know, increase the VIX, and it should offset all my longs. And the reason why I say that is, let me actually go to YHOO, where I'm long this calls. See how I have 12 of these. So basically, the most I can lose on this is $1,200. So after a while, as YHOO gets lower and lower, my premium that I can lose on these calls get less and less, while the premium I can make on the VIX, or the profit I can make on the VIX, goes up and up. So YHOO it actually opened up down because I guess China ruled that you couldn't do paid through those barcodes or whatever. It's probably temporary until they figure out a way around it. But mostly YHOO's been in the news because of Alibaba. Depending on where Alibaba IPOs, I guess the value of YHOO's stock is going to be greatly affected. So there are all kinds of speculation amongst people who probably know YHOO stock really well and Alibaba really well, depending on the IPO price. If you take that out of YHOO, what the rest of YHOO is worth, and there are people who believe that the stock is relatively cheap. So I kind of have the same opinion, because they have YHOO Japan and Alibaba, and so I was leaning long. Also, mostly because of so usually, like, you see these 12 calls. Usually, I'm not just long calls, because it's not really really the way I trade. But I do follow these guys from Trade a Minute, and they have some awesome traders there, and they have this thing called the $100,000 challenge. Let me actually go to it real quick. Yeah, so this is the $100,000 challenge. What they do is every like 4 months, they try to turn 3,000 into 100,000. Now I know you guys think like, wow, that's crazy, but he's actually done it twice. So this is all his breakdown. He's done it twice. These are his other gains, and then he had 5 losses where he went to 0. So he has 11 challenges, and basically these are his results. So even if you don't discount this, let's say you lost everything on 15 and then you made 200 here, overall it's good. I'm actually what I like about these guys, especially Jeff, who is the head trader, is the fact that he teaches you a lot about technical trading. So it's something that I never learned. It's awesome, and they are actually starting a new one March 17th. So let me actually go back. Yeah, March 17th is when they're starting new. And if you actually go there and type in live 569 as a code, you get a month free. So, for those of you guys who kind of, you don't even have to follow him, but you want to see what they're thinking and how they evaluate stocks technically, this is a really great opportunity for you to get 1 month free and see how it goes. I talked to him a few times. He's a great guy, very knowledgeable, but obviously it's a very difficult thing to do, to actually buy calls or puts naked and try to make money. So it's something that I'm always trying to add another little, I guess, play to my playbook, and this is one that I haven't really mastered. So I'm very intrigued by how he does it. I try to couple these with what I know, which is the order flows, and you can see that May 140, 145 call spread traded, and then you see the calls to puts, the long delta premium. So there's a bunch of stuff that I kind of use, and I feel strongly that as my technical analysis gets better, if I couple that with all this information that I have in options and volatility, it should really help me out. So I'm almost like, it's almost like going to school, and I just follow him on most of the trades if I happen to catch it, just so I can kind of just gauge how he's doing. So I think this pass, he's up a little bit, but I think generally he's not happy unless he gets close to the 100,000, and I think that's what he's shooting for. So that's YHOO. It dropped like this morning because of that news, but then it's kind of rallied back. I actually think this stock has a good chance of having a good pop on next week. I'm kind of hoping it maybe finishes above 38.05, the 7-day moving average. And when I see all this bullish order flow, I'm kind of hoping that the sell-off that just happened. So like, they try to sell it. It hit this bottom range. The buyers came in. It bounced back, and maybe we have a decent chance of getting to like this $41 line next week. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. We'll see what happens. But the fact that it bounced off, that it was actually down like, I think, $1 pre-market at some point, or 86 cents, and then it bounced back, and now it's up. So YHOO moves at a pretty decent clip. So my thinking is like, okay, I have $1 here in option value. Probably about half of that is premium, and if YHOO goes to 41, these should be worth $4. So I can make 4 times the money, and right now I feel pretty good about it. If normally during my professional days on these bounce backs, I would add to this position, but I'm trying to restrain myself from doing that. And I'm gonna just have this position and see how I do. I started trading HLF. I don't have too much of a position. I had this 1x2 because I thought maybe it might go below 57.5 today, but it didn't. I have these couple of puts. It'll be interesting. I think this is going to be a drawn out thing, and it's important to just keep an eye on it. And I think there is opportunities to make money on this. I'm also long these AA, and for those of you guys who's actually followed me, I was buying these because people were buying these calls. The trader minute guys also like this stocks, and then the option order flow basically backed it up. So everything was kind of in line. Plus, like I thought fundamentally, it's like a decent stock to buy, and technically it was on an uptrend. So everything looked pretty good. Unfortunately, it didn't really go up, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully, it'll kind of rally to the close. But if it doesn't, starting next week, I'll probably have to figure out if I need to just salvage whatever I can on that. As you guys know, a couple of the things I'm looking at is skull. I've been trying to put on this call spread, hoping it would drop to $9, and I keep missing it. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see if I ever get that on. The other one is Apple. So when I first started, I only had this call spread, April 5, 10, 5:30. Since then, I added these May call spreads. And it's a stock that I'm going to start just keep putting on these call spreads. So I pretty much thought about it for a while, and I thought, okay, what should I do? And as Apple drops, this is one stock where I'm systematically going to add a call spread as time goes. So this call spreads, for those of you guys who are not familiar with any of this that I put on, basically what I'm trying to do is I put on a call spread where if Apple stays at the time I put on the call spread, if it stays at where it's at or higher by the expiration date, I make roughly 80%. And one of the gentlemen who came to visit me actually corrected me because I kept on saying 43%, but it's actually 85%. So I'm gonna systematically just keep adding. I'm keeping close tabs on the order flow. So you see like how it's kind of bullish, even though, well, I can't say it's bullish, but basically the larger block trades were a little bit bullish. The overall is kind of the delta is negative and the premium is negative. So we'll see what happens, but I think Apple has a pretty good chance of going up, and the reason I say that is because of a couple of things. One, I think just in terms of the people who are in it, they're long, and I feel like they know what they're doing. The fact that Apple bought their own stock and defended it at $500 fundamentally, and you know, if you're doing like PE ratios, it's a relatively I don't want to say like cheap, because I'm not really a financial analyst, but it is a lot cheaper than the rest of the stocks that are in technology. And I think if they do announce something, the stock can have a pretty significant pop. So I feel like the downside is limited, upside is greater. So all my bets that I'm putting on are going to be call spreads, where at the time I put these on, if Apple stays at that price or higher, I make 80-some% return by the expiration. So I think it's a good strategy. In fact, I liked it so much. It's one of the only, actually, it's the only strategy where I'm going to keep doubling up, or maybe not doubling up isn't the right word, but I'm going to keep adding to this spread. So I only did a one lot, but I'm going to keep continuously doing one lots and seeing if that in the end works out for me. Okay. Oh, yeah. So for those of you guys who follow me on a regular basis, I haven't actually talked about ZNGA yet, which is unlike me. So let me go through it real quick. There's really nothing much to say except these long calls. You see, I have these 125 calls, and it's 21-cent bid at 22. And I still don't know exactly what to do. I haven't made up my mind. And one of the things that I wanted to illustrate by doing these video blogs is many times, like, you're kind of in limbo. You're trying to make your best guess, and it's not so obvious. It's not like I wake up in the morning, even when I was trading and market making on the floor, and saying like, hey, this is what I should do. It's not like that, and things are fluid. You change your mind, but in the end, what you're trying to do is make the best guess going forward with all the variables that you have at hand. So you see how, like, this week's action, or this week's candle is not that bullish in my opinion. It has a very good chance of doing one of these and then going back down. You see, like, here. So I was kind of hoping like it'll finish at 560 or higher to kind of follow this pattern. But this thing kind of worries me that the ZNGA might actually go down. So why am I not selling these calls? Well, you know, everything that I see on the order flow is still very bullish. So like, look, even today, like, look at all these call buying, right? So they're buying calls, and as you guys know, I'm looking at the skew chart. And for those of you guys who don't actually understand the skew chart, this is like a perfect example of how you can actually read the skew chart. So this yellow line is the March option skew. This green line is the April, and this light blue line is May. So you see how this ZNGA stock is trading 550 right now? So this is the at the monies, right? This is the at the monies for the 3 option expiration cycles. And let's look at the March 22, which is this yellow line, right? So you see this, the at the money is 57 vol, the 6 calls are 64 vol, and then the 5 puts are 64 vol. But so this is relatively balanced. If you look at April, you'll see April, the at the monies are 57 vol, the calls are 59 vol, but the puts are 56 vol. Right, and then if you look at May, it's 63, 65, and 64. So in April, for whatever reason, people are buying more and more calls, which is actually skewing this line, which is why I'm hesitant to kind of put on a position where I get rid of this, because this is my risk right here, really. Because I own all this, and if every day that goes by, there's some pretty decent decay on these. So, you know, that's, what is it, 125 at 22 cents. And if this thing goes to 0, that's not great. What I should have done earlier this week was sell the March 5.5 calls for like 40 cents or 35 if I could, but I didn't do that. But it is what it is, and so now I have to figure out what to do. So maybe some of the things I can do is sell some of these March, maybe not the March 22 5.5 calls, or maybe even the March 22 6 calls. But just because people are buying, I'm just hesitant to sell them. But in the end, I'll think about it for a couple of more hours and make my decision by end of today, or maybe even on Monday. But that's what I have right now, and we'll see what happens. For those of you guys who want to maybe, there might be stocks that you guys might be interested in. feel free to send me an email. I set up this email account, livevolcommunity@gmail.com. So send it there with all your questions, and then maybe on the blogs, I'll announce them. And also, if you guys want to try Livevol X, just go to livevol.com, click on Livevol X, and then here you can get the free trial. So for today, we'll see what happens. Let me actually check my account one more time. Looks like I'm pretty flat. I'll see what happens going into the close. Maybe make some adjustments. But in the end, I think I'm just gonna have to most likely hold tight and not do anything drastic, and kind of see where this plays out. Whether we actually have a bounce back or we have a further sell-off. Either way, I think my positions are pretty much kind of buttoned down, except ZNGA. So this is the only one that actually still has a potential of losing a decent amount of money. So I have to figure out how to hedge it, or just to kind of take the chance and let it ride. But hopefully your trading actually is going better than my trading the last couple of days, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.